Well, hello, good morning, good morning. Okay, this is the module that I think a lot of people overemphasize because they like how things are rated. But basically, this is the one about solar panels and inverters. And now over 12 years of dealing with solar panels and inverters, I'll go back to when I first got started. And back then, the big deal was the Sharp panels, like the Sharp Electronics and the company called Solar World. Solar World was they did the most marketing, and we installed a bunch of them. Never had a problem with them, but always around the outskirts was this other one called SunPower. And the SunPower still makes panels, um, but some of their sales and other types of leasing operations and things don't work anymore. But SunPower always was the one that was like, well, it's 40% more, but it has a better warranty over the next 25 years. We're like, how do you know? So those of us in the business who, we're trying to figure things out, we would say, well, how do you know? You're talking about panels that you're selling right now. They haven't been out in business or, being installed for 25 years. How? And we just finally figured out that a lot of these companies, Panasonic came along later and did the same thing. They were just selling you a better warranty. Now, were they good panels? Sure. But, if you actually looked at the warranties, and this is something you can look at in today's market, whether it be Qcell, REC, their Mission, any of them, if they had that super huge warranty, look at how it breaks down in the first year as far as what they're guaranteeing. Year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. You're going to notice that everybody's about the same in the first 3 or 4 years, 5 years, okay? Everybody's just about the same. So between 5 and 10 years are also running pretty close together. But after 10 years, you'll start to see, like with SunPower and some of those, Panasonic was the same way. Suddenly, you'll see that their warranties of their projections start inching up a little bit more than the rest of the pack. And by the time they hit 18 to 20 years, it looks like they are doing, head and shoulders ahead of everyone else. The point is, how in the heck can you guarantee what is going to happen or warranty something that doesn't really go into effect for 15 or 20 years? So are you willing to spend 25 to 30% more on those panels now against a promise of something that may happen in the next 18, 20, 25 years? That was how we looked at it. And truth be known, 8 years ago when it came time, after me dealing with SunPower and dealing with the reps, you get to know all the people after a while. They're like, you got to put them on your house. I heard you're going to go solar. Okay. I put Qcell on my house. Okay. I could have put Qcell or REC. We buy with a truckload. And so we're going to get the best price of, basically anything out there. But I put Qcell on my house. Okay. This is, do we have it? Let me bring this up right here. Okay, so this is Qcell solar panels, actually made in Dalton, Georgia, or at least final assembly in Dalton, Georgia. But does that mean they're the best? No, but if you buy enough of them, you can get a really good price, and they're as good as anything else, possibly better than some, and their efficiency and everything just stays really good. Okay, you have to just look at. There's one other thing, okay? When it comes to solar panels, this is something right here that I learned a long time ago, okay? FSEC, Florida Solar Energy Center, okay? There's actually 2 operations. They have one down in Cocoa, and the other is over West Orlando, and University of Florida, they're FSCC. And what they do is, if you go to their facility or go to their website, you can see that they have, I don't know how many acres, but they have a certain amount of space outside where they have them racked up. And so you have, in today's world, you'd have a bunch of panels that are 400, 410s, 425 panels with different inverters in a row and everything being monitored. So they're in the same field with the same orientation, everything being perfect. They're not testing these in a laboratory like most of the specs are that you see on the back of the data sheets from the solar panels. These are tested in real world situations right here in Central Florida for solar panels that are to be sold right here. And what I used to argue with people about on a regular basis, because I went through and I sat through a 3-day certification, $700 something, which at one point you had to be FSEC certified, and then the next year after they took my money, you didn't have to be FSEC certified anymore. And I was like, I felt like you should, because you end up learning a lot of solar math and different things in there. But what we found out for sure in there is that every single solar panel sold that's going to be installed here in the state of Florida, they have to get FSEC certifications. Okay, and so if you get a solar panel from SunPower, Panasonic, pick Mission, REC, QCell, if it says 400 watts, guess what it makes? 400 watts. If somewhere else on the brochure or on their whatever little flyer or whatever that says can produce up to 20% more power, okay, that doesn't mean that's going to be 400 plus 20%. It means that 20% is included in the 400. And I have argued with people over that, and argued with the reps and salespeople. Go, we can charge more because our panel says right here can produce 20% more power. No. If they could be 20% more power, 20% of 400 would be 80, 80. And so they would sell them as 480 watt panels, but they're not. They're sold as 400 watt panels because that's what they're guaranteed to give you. If they're 360 watt panels, but they get 20% more, no, they are 360 watt panels. The nameplate that's on those panels is what they're certified minimum to do. They might do a little bit better, okay? So that's what I have to say about solar panels, okay? And you can go to FSCC, and every single solar panel that is sold to be installed in the state of Florida has to go through the certification, and every single solar panel literally has a serial number on it, and it's on the back of the thing. Everyone's individually stamped, and it is important that you understand that all solar panels that are sold in Florida have to not only meet the ratings, but also their integrity, their strength, how well they deal with heat, getting rid of heat, and that type of stuff, because these are things being sold in Florida. Okay? Certain things, operate just a tiny bit better, and I mean just a fraction. I mean, I remember when REC, probably 6-7 years ago, was the one that everybody was speccing out for the East Coast over there because they needed a higher wind rating. And the REC panels were 1 millimeter. I'm making up a number, but it was a small amount thicker aluminum frame. And then they started coming out with a center support on them, and they would technically hold up a little bit better on wind. Point of it is, to my knowledge, and I have a brother-in-law that's in insurance, residential homeowners insurance, and we continually, going back years, have this conversation. How many solar panels in this last big storm or whatever, can you look it up? Okay. He could never find me any solar panels that actually blew off of roofs. He found things where roofs came off and the solar panels went with them, but solar panels, damage to solar panels on roofs. In fact, there's another story from Department of Energy, I forget, the REL, REL. And they had a report in there that says that 99% of all solar panels sold since 2016, when they basically mandated a different manufacturing process, were still in operation and did not fail, were not failing, unless they got hit with some type of direct impact, lightning, big hail, tree falling, something like that. Something had to externally happen, otherwise solar panels just didn't fail, okay? We're getting on long here, but this is what I have to say. If you have something that is FSCC certified, okay, and you can check it out and find the ratings. If you're wanting 400 watt panels, fine. I will tell you this. There's a couple of other kind of panels out there, and they're basically the same. Almost everything is monocrystalline now. So there used to be a big argument about polycrystalline versus monocrystalline. I don't know that that's an issue anymore. Basically, everything is monocrystalline. But The thing that does go that is a little important sometimes is called a 60 cell panel. Okay, and so you have 60 cell panels, meaning that this by this, and so this would be whatever it is. And so each one of these little squares that is on the panel, you can actually see, if you look closer at them, you can actually see the little lines in there. Each one of those in there, there'll be 60 on this panel. Then they have what's called 72 cell panels, okay? And in most cases, the cells are about the same size, but the panel itself is a little bit taller, okay? And so you end up with 72 little squares of panels, but the panels are taller. Okay, so obviously, if the cells are roughly the same, you're going to get more power out of that panel, but it takes up more room. Okay, so the size that it uses on your roof. There's also a 96 cell panel. Okay, those are huge panels, as you can imagine, a little bit wider, almost a foot taller, and the problem we have with running into some of them is that when you actually do a layout on a roof, and I'm going to point this out, and we do this out, and with the setbacks you have to have, meaning the distance from the top, from the bottom, and from the sides, excuse me, that you have to leave open. Okay, you might see right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is showing 4 panels up here. Okay, and let's just say these are 60 cells. Well, you wouldn't be able to put 472 cells up here. And you doggone sure wouldn't be able to put 496 cells up here. You see what I'm saying? And so you might end up with less solar capacity going with 72 cells over 60 cells. Conversely, sometimes the other way around. Sometimes you have a shorter roof, lower pitch roof, shorter roof, and then 2 72 cells are going to give you more. So when you're looking at, oh, it's a 72 versus a 60, just understand that that's more of a size configuration. Obviously, there is going to be more wattage produced on those panels, but they're physically larger, okay? It's like, what is more efficient? A 1 gallon versus 1.5 gallon. 1.5 gallons, the same thing, it's just got, more. All right, then the last thing I want to talk about is inverters, okay? Probably the biggest, and this is SolarEdge. I just happen to have that up next on my screen. The 2 primary residential inverters that are out there anymore is called SolarEdge, which is actually what I have on my house. It has great monitoring, everything else. And then you have something called Enphase. Okay, if I were to get my house redone again or another job done today, I'd be hard pressed not to use Enphase. Okay, I'd be hard pressed not to use Enphase just because of some of the flexibility and stuff like that. What we have to look at with the inverters, the inverters take the DC power on a panel level and they invert that power from DC to AC for your home's use. Okay, Enphase does it on each inverter at the panel, sends AC power down the line. Okay, there used to be some problems with that, and there was a time on jobs that we put in 14, 15, 16, 2014, 15, 16, and we suddenly started having a lot of in-phase failures, hundreds of them, okay? And they warranted them, but it was just a pain in the butt. So SolarEdge took off because SolarEdge wasn't having a problem. The difficulty with SolarEdge, if you want to call it difficulty, and the way that a lot of people talk about it, is that they have a single point of failure. So the SolarEdge has one large inverter. This is a commercial inverter, by the way. It happens to be at this point right here. But it had one inverter on the side of the house. And so you might have 40 panels on your roof, and they would all come down DC down, okay? And then it would come down and hit one box on the side of the house, okay? Which is what I have. And then suddenly, if that inverter on the side of the house were to go out, then your whole system would go down. Well, the likelihood of that for years was almost none. And then all of a sudden, there was a production run in, I think, 19 and 20, where we were having a failure rate, again, covered under warranty. We had a failure rate in the business, of, I don't know, a good 30–40%. A bunch of them went bad. A bunch of them went bad. And everything shifted back over to Enphase, and Enphase had fixed up all of their problems. And so suddenly Enphase became the king again. And Enphase deserved to be king again for a lot of different reasons. The flexibility, being able to add more panels if you needed to. If you needed to go back later on, put 4 more panels up there, as long as your strings would hold on to it. The point of it is that now we're a couple years past that. The reliability is back where they should be. And so whether it is Enphase or SolarEdge, mentally, I think I'm still in the camp of Enphase right now, but it's just about a toss-up. Okay, who can give us the best price? They have all figured out. There's been a million more panels and inverters installed since then, and both companies have figured out where they went wrong, and they have both come charging back, and they both have really good stuff. So it comes down to solar panels. Okay, REC is a really good panel. Mission has turned out to be a good panel. Qcell, Hanawa Qcell is made. A lot of it's made right here in the United States. There's another one, a couple of them that are made out of Canadian Solar, and the other one literally made in Canada, or they're actually final assembly. Okay, a lot of these things, the actual panels, the modules, and all that type of stuff are put together, out of China, Malaysia, Vietnam, places where the dirty part of the process of making modules and panels and polishing and that type of stuff is done, and then they get shipped over here and just trailer loads, great big shipping containers full of the little 4x4 modules, and those are the ones, and then those get assembled and final assembly in the aluminum frames and the glass and all, and put together here. Obviously, some of them come over still in shipping containers, but with tariffs and stuff like that, it might come down to looking back at Mission, and then some of these other ones again, the ones made right here in Dalton, Georgia. Governor, if you go to Qcell, Governor Kemp has this nice introductory about how they employ 200–400 people now, and they're really, really good panels. Like I say, I got them in my own house. So solar panels, don't listen to the hype. If the nameplate, if the sticker on the side of the panel is, and they're rated at 400 watts, okay, on its best day, that's probably all you're going to get. If you see something that says, oh, it produces more power or something like that, it does not. If it did, it would say so on the sticker. Okay, they're only going to sell you on the sticker what it is rated at. It's not going to do any better. So solar panels, if they get installed properly, there's Unirac, there's Iron Ridge, which has always been my favorite. I think it's reached a point, just like automotive, where it used to be a lot of differences in cars, and now I don't think there's that much anymore. So between the Unirac, Iron Ridge, all the different, there's not that many racking systems, flashing systems. If you just use the good stuff, top of the line, we almost never have any leaks. You never have panels falling off or anything like that. You just get a good crew who wires things up properly, gets them inspected, certified, done through the county, everything handled properly, engineering is done properly with a real company. Your chances of having a problem with a solar, certified, inspected, solar install is like less than probably a 50th of 1%. Okay, I know for a fact from being in the business, it's not that way with solar pool panels, okay, and solar hot water. Those I refuse to sell anymore. I haven't sold them in years just because I'd sold so many, even though we did good things. I won't want to get into it, but back then the methods of installation were, I think, the weakness, okay? Now the flashing and the methods of installation, the types of bolts, the way they make you do everything, it's like triple overkill. Okay, nothing is going to happen. So get a good company who cares about their warranty, and you're going to do really, really good. One last thing, there are certain companies out there that sell aftermarket warranties in solar. There's one called Solar Insure, which I've got, I don't know, 100 or something of those out there. I don't have any warranty on my panels in my inverter except for the factory. The factory warranty is what it is. If my company that installed them for me, were to go under, I could call back the manufacturer, okay? And they will find someone to help me. A number of these companies, such as Sanyo, Sharp, Panasonic, SunPower, there's other ones, they're just not in business anymore, Solar World. So I'm not sure who picks up their slack. I don't know that anybody really does. I mean, the individual warranty. But I can tell you this, I still have the phone numbers, and my phone has stayed the same, and I contact customers that I sold, 100-something jobs with Solar World panels. They're still working fine. Solar panels are super duper over engineered, okay? They are meant to withstand whatever, okay? If you use the right racking system, which I could do a whole nother video on why a good racking system makes such a difference, and the reason is because roofs are wavy, okay? You think they're straight, but they're not. They're a little like this. So you need a racking system that allows your rails to stay straight, and basically your L feet that go down there have a large, like 2.5-inch slot, and so instead of trying to bend the rails down to what it is, no, your rails stay nice and straight, and you put the panels on top of the rails. Now when you tighten the panels down, they are also nice and straight. The biggest problem we used to have with panels is that they would try to make them fit, up there and conform to the roof. Panels don't want to because they're glass. Okay, it's hard glass, but it's still glass, and then you tighten them down, and a year, 2 years or so later, it would just create stress cracks, and then one day, boom, okay, it would just start cracking and spider webbing. Solar panels, inverters, racking, railing, FSCC, okay. What is the thing to really understand all of this? It's simple, okay. Just deal with a good company, deal with somebody like me, deal with somebody that's got 3 or 4 crews, what I used to always say, hey, come meet us in the morning. Be there at 7:30 in the morning, be there 6:30 in the morning. You can help load trucks, drink coffee, okay? Go someplace that the installers are right there. They're running 3 or 4 trucks out the door. They can show you references of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of installs. And you can walk in the back, with, tour, and just see all the inverters, the wire. We could also talk about electrical upgrades and line side taps and all that type of stuff. You need to deal with somebody who understands this on site surveys and can tell you from the beginning, oh, your job might require an extra $1,500 to $2,000 just to bring it up to code on the electrical. Nothing we can do. If we don't do it, it won't pass inspection. Okay, so there are certain things that, someone with experience in sales from the beginning needs to let you know, so that you don't come find out that, oh, we need to do a main panel upgrade. And you might already have an idea already. I mean, if your house is built in 1982, I'm just making up a number, and you have like 150 amp service, that, they've been trying to add different things on there. If, you're always popping breakers, you need a new panel. You need to put a 2.25, 200 new sub panel on there, bring in a new service from the pole. This costs money, but your insurance company wants you to do it anyway. Okay, we went on way too long, but solar panels is a really, really big thing. Hopefully, if anyone's got this far, you understand. Listen to experts in the field, and buy Florida FSCC rated solar panels. You're going to be fine. Remember this. Anything that has the FSCC rating on it, you're going to do fine. All right, I went way too long. God bless you. Thank you.